Hello. Nice to have you with me on the live session. Astute observers coming through the channel, taking a look at the time or the video will note this is the second go around with a live session today. Doing a little evening stream here to replace the morning session. So, little rookie mistake this morning. Got my mic plugged in wrong, and the audio was unfortunately not too good. But this is the topic that I want to dive into in this session. Don't be overwhelmed. I said, you know what? I'll take a dose of my own medicine. And we won't be overwhelmed. I said, we'll just give it a second try. Had a nice session this morning. It was good. I felt bad listening to it on the replay. But, you know, this we can learn lessons from everything. And some things you just have to let go of. And so we'll let go of that. Let go of any stress with it. It's all in the past. So these are the types of lessons that I'm trying to derive from it. I've had, polls that I've left on the channel, and more than anything, it's, stress eating, emotional eating. These are some big barriers I know that we all face. So having a practice, letting go, such a beautiful practice to do. I want to leave you with some real nice thoughts for the week. So as we're here in this space, talking about don't be overwhelmed, I picked a real mellow tune here. Gentleman I found on YouTube, Kulu. I put a link in the show notes. If you're feeling stressed during the week, if you say, I'm feeling overwhelmed, check out the link and you'll find this artist's trumpet meditations. He lays down some nice little guitar tracks, and then coming in here in a minute or so, we'll hear him pull out a trumpet, give us some beautiful tones. Help us to relax. We're coming through 2 weeks of the new year, 2025. It's hard to believe. I put a poll on the YouTube community here. How are you doing with moving toward health goals in 2025? And I said, like, crushing it, or kind of slow and steady, or feeling stuck. And it was about a third of people in each category. So if you're in the crushing it group, so excited for you. And I hope this space can be encouraging, help you continue that momentum. If you're in that middle group, so I'm just getting along, plodding forward, okay, that's just fine. Want to support you in that process. And if you're in that latter category, kind of feeling stuck, hey, you're not alone. You're not alone. I was reading this week that the article said 25% of people who set a New Year's resolution have given up by the first 2 weeks of January. So I hope that if you're here with me, hey, if you're in a space like that, if you're feeling overwhelmed, that's what we want to move toward the most in this session. So wherever you're at out of those 3 groups, very nice to have you here. I grabbed a coffee for the stream this morning on that go around and grabbed an herbal tea here for this evening. As we're heading through the fall on this channel, I think we're about the 20th or so live session that we've done. And heading into the end of the fall, I ran my first marathon. I'm thinking a lot about as we're gearing up for the new year, now we find ourselves there. You don't want to start out too fast. You don't want to burn out. And so if you're in that kind of struggling group, right, if we're thinking of 2025 as a marathon, hey, it's okay. We've just gotten out of the gate and we're getting out on the trail. We're out on our journey for 25. I did the session on creating a vision for 2025. If you're looking for a vision, if you're looking for how to set that up, check out that session. The way I look at things for this channel, for us here, simple fasting. Like the new year, we're just settling in. We're just getting started. So I spent some time this week thinking about feeling overwhelmed. Thinking a little bit about why do we end up feeling overwhelmed. I was kind of thinking about it in two sections. One is like specifically with a health goal, like we can get overwhelmed with a health goal. And then the other way to think about it is just, life in general can be overwhelming. I did a couple impromptu live sessions this week. One of them was on type 2 diabetes. I was thinking a lot about diabetes this week. And during that stream, I was thinking about all the time I spent in the hospital, eating cafeteria food, how unhealthy it was, and then just reflecting on, being in the hospital in general. And, there's one of the things that really can be overwhelming or throw us for a loop, right? If either ourselves or a loved one becomes ill, there's a big curveball from life, right? A lot of times in my clinic, I'd be talking with people, about how are things going, and they say, things were going so well, until mom got sick or until, developed this illness. I tell you, you or a loved one end up in a hospital, that's gonna, sidetrack some health plans, right, for any time. So things happen in life that can make it very difficult, like to stay on track. We set a health goal, we make a New Year's resolution, we say we're moving in a direction, and then something happens. Sometimes we say, we try to hang on to it, but it can be overwhelming, and that's something we could dive in and think a lot about. And then there's the other side of it, just a health goal in particular. And that's, I think, a real practical space for us to dive in here. I made a little mental list of the top things that come to my mind about getting overwhelmed with the health process. So I hope these thoughts can be encouraging to you for the week. The first thing that came to me is about how we set our expectations. So there's a quote that I saw once that I really like, said, "The secret to happiness in life is low expectations." And I've always resonated with that. I've always liked that. There's, like many things, there's a couple ways we can look at it. Of course, from a certain perspective, it's great to have high expectations. We want to expect the best and strive for quality and all these sort of things. But then from another perspective, okay, a lot of the time when we have conflict or we have difficulty, it's because reality is not meeting our expectations. We set an arbitrary expectation. And if we don't get that or hit that right away, then we feel like we're falling short, and we can feel disappointed, and then we can start a lot of negative thinking. It can start a negative cycle. And so this is something for us to think about as we're heading toward this ideal. Don't be overwhelmed. We want to find a calm space of contentment. Is to take a look at our expectations. What are we trying to accomplish? What is the path that we're taking? And are our expectations too much for our current situation? Are our expectations causing us to feel overwhelmed? Something to spend some time really thinking about, maybe journaling about. Another way that we can get into that space with a health goal, feeling overwhelmed, is if we're trying to do too much at once. If we're trying to change, of course, moving toward a health goal of almost any kind is about change in some fashion. Do we have Jennifer with us, it looks like? Hello. Round 2. I don't know. I think, were you here this morning? I had the live session this morning. Maybe you can see my comments. I went through and I was looking at it, and the audio was so poor. I don't know what your experience was like if you were there. But I had the time. I thought I'd open up a second space and go through some of this again in hopefully a way that's a little easier to listen to. Hope you're doing well this evening. Two different ways that we can approach change. Some people, in the right time, in the right space, you can jump in 2 feet right in and say, I'm all in. Kind of like you might call it like a cold turkey on some bad habit, like we're just totally cutting ties with the past. Going hard in a new direction. For the right person in the right time, that can be a way to do it. I will say in general, that's the minority of people. Oh, I should ask Jennifer while we're here. Are things better this evening? Did I get everything fixed? Let me know. I hope so. Yeah, the audio was so quiet this morning for the voice, and then the music kind of overdid it. For most people, if we're trying to make a change, moving forward, it's best to move toward things in a slow and steady and calm fashion. To break things down into small steps so that we can take one step at a time so that we don't feel overwhelmed. We try to do too much too fast. We can add stress. It can feel like so much pressure. And when we get in that sort of space, then we're feeling overwhelmed, can make it very difficult to continue on a process. The thing I want more than anything else to help people do is to find something that is sustainable, a health path that is sustainable. And then not getting immediate results. So when we're trying to move in a direction and we don't get the results that we're looking for right away, this can also lead us to feeling overwhelmed. As we're moving toward health, as we're moving toward healing, many times, we want something so much, we're going after it intensely. If we don't get the results that we want in a certain time frame, that's kind of along with our expectations, it can be discouraging, and we can become discouraged. That discouragement can feed a cycle of feeling overwhelmed. We move toward anything. Anytime we're moving towards something in life that's valuable, is very common. Have you experienced this? You're moving in a direction, you have some initial momentum. There's usually a dip, right? There's usually a period where things kind of fade and you hit kind of a difficult patch before you can pick it up again and move forward. So if you're feeling overwhelmed in the new year, let's lean into that. What are you trying to accomplish? What is the path that you're on? Are you moving in a positive direction? Do you feel good about it? Have you set expectations that are in line with, kind of what you're up for in this season? Are you okay if the results are not coming so quickly? I think the analogy that I was talking about this morning was, I learned about a couple weeks ago, bamboo, how it grows underground. 5 years, it'll be growing underground, and you can't see it. You see it in the 6th year, it shoots up. And people say, oh, bamboo, it's such a fast growing. But you're not seeing the work that it's putting in. What if that is in our life? What if we're moving toward health and healing, and what if it took even years to accomplish what we wanted? You'd be stuck there in year 2, right? And you feel like, oh, maybe a breakthrough is around the corner. That's the thing to think about. That's why, more than anything, I want to cultivate having people finding joy on the journey. So, finding joy on the journey. Each day is like a step on our path that we're taking toward our destination. And it's kind of a cliche saying, but the joy is in the journey. But really, I just think that that's the key. If we say always well, I'm going to be happy someday, right? I'm going to be happy when I accomplish this health process. What if that process takes longer than we expect? What if it takes years? This is why I like to think of fasting as a mental health practice. Fasting is about subtracting from our life. It's not about adding something that is difficult or stressful. If you're feeling in that sort of space, I want to encourage you probably to take a step back and to reevaluate. Very hard in my experience for people to stick with something that is adding stress. We all have so much stress in our life. We face difficulty and challenge in so many ways. We need health practices that are helping us, cope in healthy and positive ways with the stress that we already have. Certainly exercise can be something like that, even just taking a walk, right? Such a beautiful health practice, moving our body in a gentle, healthy way. And of course, the sky is the limit with an exercise, practice. I'm very encouraging of that. Fasting may be easier to see as a subtraction, right? Think about as we're subtracting stress, as we're subtracting food, opening up space, embracing openness. Can we merge the physical experience of fasting, the openness physically from food, with opening up mental space? Right? Hopefully that's the type of process that can help us not feel overwhelmed, even in the midst of a difficult situation. Healing is a process. Health is a process. I was thinking about, the marathon mindset. It was on my GPS watch. I looked for the marathon. It was 47,000 steps to run a marathon. There's a lot of steps. I like thinking of each day as a step in our health journey. Even just in a year, we got 365 days. So here we are, starting week 3 in 2021. Oh my goodness. 2025. Better to do the fasting space live in the morning, a little sharper. "2021, I wonder where that came from." One step every day as we move toward it. It's an interesting space to be in. Jump on live and I don't know. It's hard to recreate something. The first time I tried to do it, I don't think you can really do it. Each thing is kind of its own thing. One place we went this morning was, I was reviewing a video that I shot this week that I'll be sharing this next week. About sharing our stories. It's something I really want to move toward. Sharing inspiring stories. Sharing stories of just normal situations. Sharing the struggle. I think there's a lot that we can gain from sharing our experiences. Part of the time, I think we feel overwhelmed because we can be so isolated. I was talking with some folks the other day. Someone was reading a book. I forgot what it was called. But it was about, this is the most connected moment in history. We all have smartphones, everybody's got it, and internet everywhere. It's the most connected moment. Yet, at the same time, there's more loneliness and disconnection than ever. I think when we feel disconnected, it's everybody's got curated Instagrams, and it's easy to feel in this sort of age, like, oh, we always can compare ourselves to others. It can make us feel inadequate, right? We can start to feel alone and isolated. I want to build out this platform, the channel, where we can share stories about both the success so that we can celebrate it and be inspired, and also the reality of the struggle and the difficulty and the time it takes to really move toward health. So look for that this week. I think that some good things are going to come out of that. I had a quote in here I found. Theodore Roosevelt, "Do what you can with what you have where you are." I thought this was such a centering thing for me this week, like to think of not being overwhelmed. It's like, do what you can, right? We only can do what we can, right? Sometimes we try to do more. We push ourselves so hard. We can be the most brutal with ourselves, right? Sometimes I think I've said this in another stream, like, do we treat ourselves with the same kindness that we would treat a friend? If a friend came to you and said, hey, here's what I'm going through, here's what I'm having. But if you were saying that, you'd probably be a lot more kind, to a friend. So do what you can and don't expect too much, right? With what you have, right? So this is helping us get our expectations in line, help us move toward things at a manageable pace. Where you are, finding contentment in our situation, finding love and compassion for ourselves. So if you're in this space, you had a resolution, if you are moving toward it in a fashion, or you felt like, man, I'm already out of the gates and I haven't even gone anywhere. Something I was thinking about this afternoon, reframing our resolution as a habit. So, habits, something if we have habits that are not serving us, okay, we have to break those sort of things. That's like a resistance. A habit that we build that is positive, it supports us, right? So a resolution is like an end goal. A resolution is where we're going. A habit is like the steps that we can develop in each day that can take us in the direction we want. So if you're struggling with a resolution, if you're struggling with a goal, can you just bring it down and focus on the habits? Focus on the steps that you can take in each day. It can break it down, make it smaller, right? Not so overwhelming. Say, you have some big goal for the year, okay? Sometimes that can feel overwhelming. Just bring it down in this day. What does it look like? How can I have joy in this day? Win this day, one habit that will serve me in this day. And then we just start stacking some good days like that together. Well, I think I might leave it at this. I wanted to just put a little something out here that was a little more balanced than that this morning as I was looking through it. Jennifer, nice to have you connect in with me here again this evening. I hope you have a great week. Check out these trumpet meditations if you're looking for a stress-free space. I got the link for that. I'm going to have a few different videos coming out this week. And we'll swing things around next week. A few rookie mistakes out of the way for me. We'll swing around to the live session again next Sunday. We'll catch you soon.